Well, welcome to the Webster Conservation Commission. Today is January the 6th, 2025, and it is 5:59. First up is public meeting request for determination. We don't have anything. We don't have any public hearings either, but all we have is old business. So we're going to start with some action items. Extension of order of conditions, DEP 323119 for 84 Gore Road. And there's also a minor modification as it relates to this as well. Joe, you want to give us an update on this?
All right, sure. We've got Nick, if you want to come up here. We've got Mr. Manzaro, who is now the new owner of 84 Upper Gore Road. Nick Manzaro needs a extension on his order of conditions. Glenn had permitted this project about a little over 3 years ago. Last year he came before us. We did a 1-year extension. Now Mr. Manzaro owns it and is going to be building a beautiful home there. So we need to do an extension for him. So I'm going to show some photographs. A second here. So I did do a site walk with Mr. Manzaro so that he knows the wetlands that he's got on his property. But if you know Upper Gore Road, this lot had been vacant for quite a long time. So here's his lot. There's a DEP number. Erosion controls are up. Pretty much on the other side of this little knoll right here is the wetland area. This is before Mr. Manzaro fixed up all the ESCs. So here's what they look like now. This is towards the back of the property. This is towards the back of the property. And then another shot of the erosion controls. So let me pull up. I want to show everyone. Let me see here. Nope, that was going to happen. All right, so here's the original plan, just so you know. Some of you, actually, most of you were not on the board when this came before us, but here's the proposed home. This is the original plan, proposed home, paved driveway in the lower right corner here. This long angular reach all the way to the back of the property. This is the septic leach field. Just because of the adjacency to the wetland resource areas, the leach field had to go to the back of the property. This is the ejector pump here. So this is what came before us. This is what we approved. This is what we approved an extension on. And then I'm going to show you, well, actually what we need to do is we need to approve the current plan and an extension for, I'm recommending 2 years because he needs to develop it and he's not going to be able to do it in 1 year. So this is going to need to be a two-phase process. We need to approve the current plan and in a extension. Then what we need to do as the next order of business is we need to modify the plan because Mr. Manzaro is just modifying the house orientation on the property so that it fits his what he would like on the property. And I'll cover those dimensions and everything with you when we get to that order of business. But it's also, the minor modification is also to update his information onto the order of conditions because right now it's on the previous owner. So that's why there's two orders of business here. So the first is to extend what is already in place. And that will give Mr. Manzaro the extension that he needs. Then what we're going to do is modify it. And I'll show you the modified plan, and we can have that discussion. So that's why it needs to be a two-part process.
So Joey, just to be clear, what is the expiration date on this?
On this one, let me see here. The expiration date, is it this one? No. Um, 3/27/24.
So I'm looking at 10/25/2018.
Yeah.
Those are the days of
Yeah,
signatures.
Glenn had come before us. 1 second. Is this it? Right here. 1/31/25.
131. Okay, good.
Yep. So, and the original owners were the Smiths. So,
Any question here, folks? Looking for a motion for extension for orders of conditions for DEP 323-1119.
is that a 1 year or 2 year extension,
Oh,
Mr.?
right. So our agent's suggesting a 2-year in order to make this plan work. Do we need more details? We're going to hear more details.
Yeah, you're gonna hear it. You're gonna see the new plan and whatnot. So, it's a very minor modification on the plan. And I will say Glenn was on the project. The septic system, I believe, in the leach field is in. Is the septic system in, Mr. Manzaro? Is the septic system is all set up and is in, correct?
No, it's not yet.
All right, so the septic system's not in, but it's
well is.
all, the well is, that's what's in. The well is in now. The septic will be going in.
I just took the exact plan that was for the septic from previous.
Yep, I'm gonna show the board.
Okay. And you've been out there?
I have, yes.
Okay. Any other issues out there?
No issues, no.
Okay. Any other?
I'll make a motion to give them a 2-year extension on DEP 323-1119 84 Upper Good Road.
First by Commissioner Foley,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Sharon. Roll call. Commissioner Shivers,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharon,
Yes.
Commissioner Foley,
Yes.
Commissioner Parenti, yes.
Okay,
So now you want
great.
to,
All right, so minor modification, let me pull up the plans. So. All right, so this is the original plan. Everything is, here's the septic and how it traverses to the back of the property. Here's the adjacent wetland. Here's an adjacent wetland. There's another little wetland right here. This is what we approved originally under the order of conditions. Notice the house orientation, the garage, the recharge system is in the front. Here's the proposed driveway that is paved. So that is the current plan. So this one is Mr. Manzaro's revised plan. And exact same plan, just notice that the house orientation is different, just a little bit different. Same size, same distance away from the wetland. It's not moving closer to the wetland. There's a proposed U-shaped driveway that's going to be gravel. So you're not having that impervious driveway anymore. There'll be 2 construction track pads, entrance here, stockpile. Plantings will be going along the edges here with porch in the back, porch in the front. And that is pretty much, the difference is he really just get, the other one, he just really has just changed the dimensions. Now I did ask about the impervious, calculations, and Mr. Manzaro asked his engineer, and if you see, through the communication here, it's actually driven down, the impervious calculations by, just a small bit. The house that was approved was 2250 square feet, and his with the porches is closer to about 2100 square feet. So it's a little bit, just a tiny bit smaller. And there's still the recharge unit in the front. It will be under the driveway. The only thing that I'm going to request that Mr. Manzaro tonight, I brought his plan with him. He just needs to draw in the spill kit because we weren't requiring spill kits when we originally approved this. So he didn't realize that. So I'm just going to have him draw in the spill kit. And the porta potty.
George, are you saying that square thing is a charging station?
In
Am
the
I hearing
front
that?
here, yep. See how it says Caltech recharger?
So that's for like cars?
No, The recharge means it's for all the gutters in the house.
Oh,
The
okay.
Caltech unit that goes underground to collect all the water. Caltech is a brand name, so it's really called a recharge unit. So
Okay.
Now, has that size of that? Because it looks like it's changed, the Coltech. Is it the same?
no, it's still the same size, 180.
Okay.
Which would be, it was oversized to begin with. It's going to be much more oversized now. They use 50 square feet shorter than what it was originally.
Yep. Okay.
So the motion's to do a minor modification?
Is
Correct.
that the
The-
roof structure up to the right there? Is that the,
This here?
little more, down?
That right there.
Right here?
Yeah,
Yep.
is that the roof slant?
That was a temporary access. It's no longer there. There was, in order to do the crossing here, there was a wetland area that was impacted here, and Glenn had done a crossing. So to balance out that impact to the wetland, there was a replication area. See how it says replication? There's a replication area here, and then to put in the well in the back, there's a wetland replication area in the back. So, but the access roads are no longer, they're no longer
Access
there.
road gonna still be there though, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be used.
It's not gonna be used.
No.
I was trying to
No.
figure out how the.
And
driveway
that's why you see, when I talked with Mr. Manzaro, when he informed me that he owned the property now and whatnot, that's why you see the erosion control is so tight, and it looks like a little bowling alley.
Yeah.
So that is what this is here, to get back to put in the leach field. So they'll just have to run the pipe.
Joe, you mentioned also that there might be new conditions? Was
I'm
that-
sorry?
You said that there also might be other conditions, or is that with the first vote? we
No,
did that?
what he'll do is he'll inherit the conditions. We put
Oh,
pretty
okay.
heavy conditions on this originally, so the only thing is we just need the spill kit. Excuse me, the spill kit and the porta potty on the plan. And I'm just going to add that into the conditions. But aside from that, there's heavy conditions with the replication area, which Glenn, I actually spoke to Glenn today, and Glenn had talked about the replication areas, and Glenn had done some cleaning out of a catch basin that was over here. He wanted to just discuss that with me. So he saw this on the agenda and was just curious what was going on with it.
So from the current plan to the new plan is, we thought there was more.
It'll
but it's
just
They
transfer.
flipped the house, but it's in the same footprint.
Yep, it's pretty much the same footprint. Yep. And he's in the zoning setback, and then, like I said, he's still the same distance to the wetland in the back.
Pretty straightforward.
Mhm. I believe.
Looking for a motion for minor modification for 84 Upper Grower, DEP 323-1119.
So moved?
So moved by Commissioner Shivers
With the modification.
with the
of
minor
spill-
modification,
Yeah, the spill kit.
spill kit and porta potty.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Foley. Roll call, Commissioner Shivers?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson? Yes. Commissioner Sharon?
Yes.
Commissioner Foley?
Yes.
Commissioner Parent is a yes. Excellent.
Just 1 second, Mr. Chairman. All right, great.
Thank you. You're all
All
set.
right, you're
Thank you very much.
You got
Thanks,
approved
Nick.
when your back was turned.
Nick, I'm going to send you information in the next week. All right? No problem.
Good luck.
You're
All right.
welcome. Good luck.
Should we go out of order here
We can.
to 114?
114, yep.
Okay, so folks, we're going to go a little out of order here so we can put the goals, don't have people waiting when they don't have to.
Yeah.
So we're going to discuss the enforcement order update and approval of multi-point plan for cleanup at 114 Worcester Road. Yeah, you folks can come on up. Joe, you want to give us an update here?
Okay, so if you remember when we had discussed the cleanup for 114 Worcester Road, I had mentioned that I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your last name? Lamusia. And his attorney, Mr. DuPont, were going to get us a multi-point plan, a nice phased out plan, which I'm going to show you now. I think that it's appropriate. It looks good. It's what the select board is looking for. And it'll allow for a good cleanup of 114 Worcester Road. So this is, you probably saw it in here. Here's a letter that accompanied with the multi-point plan, just talking about how it's phased out. Each phase has got, April through July, August through November, April through July, August through November. As we had, as I mentioned, obviously this situation at 114 Worcester Road didn't happen overnight, so it's going to take some time to clean up, and this will allow Mr. Lamusio to be able to get this cleaned up effectively. So let me just show you. It didn't come out the greatest, but he is going to start with the front, which from the line of sight from Route 12, you can see the stream corridor runs right along here, sort of swings this way, and then you can see it right along here. So he is going to start with this segment in the front here, and then this segment in the back, and then work his way forward. Pretty much, I guess the best way to say is, from worse to better, and attack each section in each time frame. So that's how it's segmented. And then if folks have any questions, Mr. DuPont and Mr. Lamusio are here.
Okay. Okay, Joey, so you've been out to this site.
Mhm.
In those particularly those initial, I mean, I'm just curious, like, what's in these vessels that we're going to be pulling out? Is there anything in here that we should be concerned about? Is there any offloading of materials that are in here?
It's,
Are there any hazardous materials?
it's predominantly autos, trailers, really, and I mean, even still, there's not a lot of vehicles. It's more of piles of steel. There's, there is a crane that's sitting in the stream bed. There's tires. It's, it's an old junkyard. So,
And it's all
but
going
it's,
to be moved off-site.
but as far as any concern of any additional contamination, no.
So
I don't know if
No
Mr.
transmission oils, motor oils
All
contained
of,
in any
all
of
of
these things?
those, anything like that is actually located near the building, near the building structure. So in our enforcement order, we had ordered everything to come out of the stream bed and move back 25 feet. So that's what is needed to happen here, and that is what is proposed. So,
So not to remove it, just to move it,
no, to remove it,
remove it.
but also anything that's adjacent to it moves back 25 feet.
So will there be like one big pile of junk 25 feet away, or is it gonna just be?
Perhaps,
Some of the ones that I will get rid of, and what I'm saying, but it'll be way more organized than what.
So there's some stuff that you can use there?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
that makes it understandable.
This material has been there for decades, and what's happened is the trees have grown up through it, which makes it very hard to move it. And the goal is to clean out the stream bed, move it back, and ultimately, he would like to sell off the scrap from the site. And that's why we're requesting from the selectmen the license, the junk license to sell off what we can sell off.
yes.
So, Joey, with so much disturbance in this area, try to pull this, there's going to be some heavy equipment involved. Are we concerned about sedimentation into the stream? How much of a stream flow do we have here?
There's going to be the installation of a straw wattle and eventually silt fence. That was what we had talked about. So,
Okay.
there's no way of getting around having to trim shrubs and take down some smaller trees in order to get in there to
Sure.
get the stuff out. So, but the intent is to have everything eventually away from the stream and let it heal.
So we're not concerned about sedimentation going downstream? What's the flow on this stream?
That I'm not exactly sure. I mean, as far as flow as far as
What type of stream are we looking at here?
I'm fairly certain it's perennial.
Okay.
I'm guessing he don't want to come back in front of us if it gets in the stream, so he'll probably be really careful.
Well, the stuff is in
Yeah.
the stream. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So you're literally pulling it out. You're going to create sedimentation. We're not controlling that. So it's going to go downstream. Are there any other agencies involved with this project?
No, at this point, no.
No. I mean, an option that we could probably look at is but I mean, if you've got a high flow rate on the stream, it's not going to really do very much except for damming it up. But you could put a wattle right before it gets to the culvert at Route 12.
Mhm.
Perhaps like a filter sock style where the water does still go through it, but it'll catch and stop that sedimentation. I mean, we could require that.
what's downstream from this? I mean, what's the impact?
This flows beside a paintball
Yeah,
facility.
flows towards the paintball?
Yeah,
not towards the
right
highway?
next to right next to the paintball, and then eventually exits into the French River, probably about half a mile down.
Okay. Are you concerned about testing for pollutants already in the soil and the surrounding areas?
That would be something that would be required from Mass DEP. That wouldn't be required from us.
So Mass DEP isn't involved with this project at this point?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No?
They're looking for, I mean, DEP obviously knows that there is an enforcement order on it. I mean, as far as following up on enforcement orders, I mean, I can be honest with you. I mean, DEP is, unless there's a severe action that's needed where they interject themselves into something like this, that would be the only time that DEP would really get involved. DEP would, just be looking for us to implement what we had originally.
And you're
Decided
gonna
on.
monitor it every phase, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
that
if
was
there's
the
a
thing that I
problem,
was going
we
to
can
work
deal
out
with it
with.
at
Yeah,
that
I mean, I'm
point.
going to be, as phase one gets going, I'm going to be, touching the project, take some photographs, checking in, making sure, seeing how things are going. And of course, if any obstacles arise, you can always reach out to me.
So why aren't we requiring an NOI or other type of,
Because we didn't require it in the enforcement order. Unless it was required in the enforcement order. The enforcement order itself is basically an NOI that's saying you need to do this. You need to clean up. You need to fix what you broke.
what I'm really wrestling here with is if we had a project, say, on the lake, we would have a description and we'd have lots of more details as to how things were going to progress, when it was going to happen. I'm not so sure I have that here. And I'm worried about not having professionals looking at the impact that's already happened and whether or not we're going to aggravate the situation by doing this plan that's already here. That's my concern. Now, if you're telling me there's nothing to be concerned about as far as transmission oils and other motor oils, I find it kind of hard to believe that that doesn't exist on this property.
Most of the, actually, all the machinery that's there predates hydraulics. It's all cables,
Really?
all cables. It's 40s and 50s stuff.
Good, that's good to know.
Yes, and if there's 4 vehicles there, I bet you 3 of them don't have motors or transmissions in them, and they came that way.
There's quite a bit of metal that's really just metal that is really the predominant waste product that's on this property. Aside from tires, old tires have oils and whatnot in them, but if anything, I would just add an additional, a filter sock at the culvert to be able to just filter out sediments, catch the sediments, and just, eventually, just clean it.
You got a 6-phase project, so as he starts to move it, if something arises, then we should deal with it then, because if this stuff's been there for decades, it's all dried up, even if it was motor oil or whatever. And if you put this water at the end, that's gonna save it there, so clean up means clean up.
And there's going to be, as we go through each phase, there's going to be wattles that get put up.
Right there, it's all
You know.
right there, every stages. Straw wattles, and you're gonna check it at the end of every phase, so.
So we have another project in town, or a previous project that was, the DEP was involved with, which had a lot of testing involved with post cleanup.
But that was because DEP ended up getting involved because of a bigger EPA issue with that situation.
It seems to be very similar in nature.
Not necessarily. That was more of a runoff
Yep,
situation.
that's true.
And siltation ending up in a brook. And
Okay, so, but we got. things to get
but they
approved.
also dismantled a lot of stuff there, which carried a lot of contaminants.
Okay. All right, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
My comment would be to Mr. Parent's point a little bit. It says the owner will remove visible debris from the stream, but there's no detail how you're going to remove the debris. I'm thinking you're not going to walk down there and carry it out.
No, heavy equipment, I got equipment.
So then would you worry about having a spill kit on site with heavy
I do,
equipment?
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
have them in the equipment.
Yeah.
And then my personal confusion, you said you hope to sell the scrap metal that's there. So you're just going to move it back and then have someone come to look at it? Or you're going to
No.
take it away and sell it?
After it's categorized, take it away and sell it. Yeah, pull it out and categorize it.
And so then more equipment will come to take it away?
I got trucks, yes.
So they'll bring it to that place on Cambridge Street.
I mean, you're going to look at it that this has been, an area, a junkyard for several years, obviously, and we've got an opportunity here to clean it up. And this is an absolute step in the right direction. And I mean, if we find that, or if I find that what we've got set up here in each phase, I can work, reach out to Mr. DuPont or Mr. Larusso and we can adjust as needed.
Just a quick question I'm still a newbie, right? Yeah. During each of these phases, is this something that is going to be reported on?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
intention. Yeah. So as each phase gets done, we would connect and I
Okay,
can,
Just wondering.
I'll
And
be
would it-
reviewing it.
Would
Yeah,
it-
the goal will be to, after each phase, to have the conservation agent to come in and take a look at it. and comment.
Okay. Would it be plausible? Because I'm curious. I mean, I guess curiosity is not a reason to have people do more work, but so how it's done, right? And maybe that would give a little more. I'm fine with it. Let me just say by that, but okay, this is how we're doing this. Click, picture, great, and then it's for
Yeah, we
nothing else, just to
planned on
understand
kind of
that. Right?
Documenting the thing.
Right.
From a standpoint of safety, number one, and the standpoint of entering someone else's property, I can see where, I mean, if Mr. Lamucio is okay with it, I mean, it's up to the landowner
Right,
to allow
and-
folks onto their property, particularly when they're sitting on a board.
For sure. And
But
once
I
again,
don't, I mean, a situation like this where it is, it's a bit, I mean, there's decent places to walk, but it is dangerous.
For sure. And I think my point was not necessarily for this project, but to say this is how it can be properly done if it needs to get done. And if that can't happen, that's fine too. I was just sort of thinking, it feels like there's a lot of uncertainty, and to have documentation of this is how it was done before will give that sort of certainty. And if it's a safety issue, then forget I said anything. Can we erase the
Well, if
federal
they took
record?
pictures, it wouldn't be a safety issue because they'd send the pictures to Joey and Joey would show up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So we wouldn't
okay.
have to
Yeah.
go on their property.
Oh, no, I wasn't
You're
saying
not
going.
allowed
I wasn't.
100,000
Right.
pictures you could take, but if you came across something and said, ooh, maybe this is, we should send them. or-
yeah, I mean, the conversation that we had, when I first toured the property with the building inspector was, that, we would have open communication, and I think the communication has been great since the walkthrough. So, I don't have any concern that if you were to run into an issue or there was a snag on something, then, we can work, bring it back to the board, or I can make a recommendation on behalf of the board that, this would be the better way to manage that rather than break a dozen eggs, you only break in three, so
I'm
to
sure you
speak.
guys don't even know what's under there until you get there.
I grew up there, so I know a lot of it. but-
Yeah.
He has a very long history. I mean, what'd you say, over almost 40 years there? So
Better than
He's
40
pretty-
years.
he's pretty in tune with what is on the property.
So just kind of to add with what Rich was saying, I'm not necessarily as concerned with the sediments going downstream, but if he goes and lifts something up and there is oil underneath it, it's already going downstream. I'd be more concerned about putting some sort of a pig mat sock across the stream before that culvert
We-
to catch any
Uh,
accidental.
I think it's fair
uncovered
to
jug of
implement.
Oil and the metal breaks away and the oil's down the stream.
Yeah, I believe it's United Rentals has what they call filter socks. So, I mean, a filter sock or, whether it's double
Yeah.
walled or just one for now.
Yeah, I mean, even just like
Wouldn't be a bad
white,
idea.
the white socks laying across just to
Yeah.
catch anything.
I think that's appropriate.
I agree. I think the other big issue that I have is the lack of remediation discussion on here. Any thoughts on that? I mean, we know we have an impact,
Mhm.
but there's no discussion about returning that
I wouldn't
other than,
consider, I think that the impact to getting everything out of there, you would be really surprised to see what naturally will come back, because things have been laying on seed beds and whatnot. So I think to disturb and then take out and then disturb it again to put something back in there, I would just leave it be. Like, come back 25 feet and just let it heal.
Well,
That's
how- well, what
my
about
that's my
seedings?
opinion.
what about just plantings?
I mean, we could request a
It's a
wetland seed mix. We can require a wetland seed
Wetland
mix.
seed mixes right along the borderline to assure that they're non-invasives or, yeah. I mean, we've done this multiple times. It's not,
Yeah, I think a wetland seed mix would be better than going and planting and digging holes and digging
yeah,
back
I'm
in
fine.
there.
I'm
And
fine with that. I understand. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
remediate it back to sort of a natural state.
Yeah.
And what about when we have large pits? So some of those, at least one of those trucks are like pretty deep in there. So it's going to be pretty deep. Just, you're going to let that sort of work its way out.
Perhaps by the last phase to reevaluate the disturbance that has come and see if anything has started to regenerate. And then the last phase would be to remediate as necessary and leave that open for evaluation.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was
at that time.
heading. Like I wanted
So
some,
we don't have to, you're not going to remediate part one right away because it's going to get wrecked when they go to the back for the
Yeah.
rest of it, right? So on phase 6, have remediation plan assessment and.
Further remediation.
yeah, and to your point,
Yeah,
actually, that might be good
replans,
because
so do an
what if it does come
assessment
back
of what's
naturally,
been
just like you just
disturbed.
said? So there wouldn't be any
Mhm.
remediation necessary at all.
yeah, yeah,
Because it would give 2 years for the first part to nature.
to
take
heal.
its course,
And
probably
you'd be
won't-
surprised how fast it would pop back.
and perhaps it won't need any, and perhaps it might need something. So on that part 6, to do a remediation assessment and determination of replacement.
Good wording.
Thank
You
you.
okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, we want to do remediation.
Assessment.
So you want, so a part 6 of a remediation is that, which would be a wetland seed mix that would end up getting just spread through each section.
Okay, that's fine.
Anything else, folks, here?
Well, and then
And I think part of the remediation, we can just throw in there that the wattles will be put up, and the filter, it's a filter sock that you're gonna want at the culvert, yeah, an absorbent, yeah, filter sock.
Is that going to be at every step, or is that step dependent?
No, what I would do is I would just put that all under 6. So what you could do tonight is approve the plan with the condition that they'll get a new document that just has a phase 6 that's outlined in here that will include the filter sock, remediation of adding the wetland seed mix.
But phase
as a
6 doesn't, the filter socks are throughout the phases, not at phase 6.
Yeah, but we can have that, asked for that
We're
to
just
be
gonna
put in there.
Phase 6, so he doesn't have to rewrite
Yeah.
the whole thing.
is the intent also to put signage up after it's all cleaned out, no dumping? Should we require signage in the area?
That's up to you. I mean, we do have little wetland signs, do not disturb.
I suppose if someone's so inclined, they're going to ignore the sign, but
Right.
at least you'd have something to fall back on if somebody dumped something and the signage says, don't do it. You do that in homeowners' yards, right? Wetland, do not
Yeah, I
disturb.
mean, so does,
On,
I would-
Loveland Road.
how does the rest of the board feel about it?
So you're
And
saying
each- and
signs
each-
to delineate
Each section,
where the
each section
wetland
will
is?
just have,
Signs like no dumping.
yeah, we've got little
No
signs,
dumping wetland.
Mr. Limosio. So each phase section will just have a sign.
We've assigned them to multiple projects. It's a good way to continue that education even after your ownership, and in the future, theoretically, anybody would know that that's what's going on there. That's the purpose.
You do all that work, you want to maintain
Yeah.
the work that you've achieved.
Because who's to say you don't go and sell it 2 years after pulling all this stuff out and the new guy comes in and repeats the same thing? That's kind of what we're trying to avoid. And it's no cost to you, it's just a sign that we would provide for you. Joey, I'm just going to oppose the including it into phase 6 with the filter socks, because these phases are all broken out in time pieces. So I think it needs to come as sort of a preamble to,
Phase 1.
phase 1, like phase
Okay.
1A or something.
So
like that.
why don't we just why don't we ask them to just add ongoing condition?
Yeah.
And that would be the filter sock at the culvert.
Yep.
Other ongoing condition would be signage for each section once it's completed. I think those two things are fair.
So I think the intent here is that each phase would be its own group, and then you would move to the next phase until that that phase is completed and you've signed off on it? Is that sort of the intent here?
Yeah, I would come, I would inspect it, I would make comments.
So what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for some sort of narrative to that effect. That doesn't seem to be captured here. I'm worried that this agreement is going to move through regardless of your opinion.
Mhm.
And so I think we need to build in a narrative which doesn't allow progression until there's successful completion of each of the phases.
Okay,
I think it says it on a couple of them, but
It-
further down.
Yeah, it talks about the fact that you're going to see it, but you're not going to approve it. You're going to inspect it,
Mhm.
but what I'm looking for is the next step is like agreement that that phase has been completed. Does that make sense to you folks?
Yeah, you could just add a bullet on each phase, inspection required
What's,
prior to progression to next phase.
It's there, just
It's there.
schedule walkthrough and update progress, and he's just saying add, don't proceed to the next phase
Oh,
Yeah.
without
Gotcha,
approval.
yeah,
successful completion or something
Yeah.
to that effect.
yeah.
so we just want the language changed on
Yeah.
that fourth bullet on each one.
Well, that's the third one in phase one. It's,
So like it says, update progress and approve progression
third
to
one.
phase, to the next phase.
That's going to be something that Joey can just go
It's just
ahead
there, it's
and,
just
yeah.
not-
so it
It's
doesn't
the
have
second from
to.
last bullet of each of those phrases.
Just because you might want to say add this additional.
Conservation agent
something.
for a
Well, it says
walkthrough to
consult, so that should
update
take
progress
care of it.
and approve for the next phase.
Just another sentence.
It says the owner will consult.
I think that's kind of what you were trying to do
Conservation
anyways, I think. I just want to make sure it's captured
A Word
here.
document, it's easy to put another
Okay.
sentence.
We had just figured that he was gonna, look at the whole thing again at the end and then make any comments of what would have to be tweaked at that point. But we can do it as each section goes as well.
Yeah, I
Well, it
mean,
says that each section, he's gonna come do it,
Right.
not at the end. Says it-
Right, each section, but then at the end, it was just a little
It
bit
says
different
consult
language.
with the agent.
That,
I mean, it's 3 years from now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then to consult with him on regarding any outstanding issues
27.
on the final phase. But we can do that as each phase goes as well,
Two and a half.
if that's better.
Not that we're wishing anything negative on Joey, but if Joey wins $1 million
no, I mean, it's,
and then there's another person in that place, it's better to be very specific and deliberate and not leave sort of room for
Interpretation.
interpretation. So
Big word.
we all know it, like we're all sitting here, we know it, but then if we're all gone and Joey is somewhere on an island somewhere, we don't want the next person to come in and stop the progress, right? Because then you've already did all this work and then you don't want to go back if you have to. And I think that would make me feel better that this is in writing and then you all just take care of it, but
Yeah.
it's in writing. We shouldn't make decisions based on the people who are in the room
Correct.
because those things can change. Because Joey's my second person that I've worked with. Yes. And I've only been here 2 years, so he's the second. I'm telling all the business, ain't I? Sorry.
okay, so,
Makes sense.
so what we're looking for,
Same for them.
what we're looking for is to modify the bullet on each phase so that it includes the verbiage that says that at the end of this phase, the conservation agent will come and do a walkthrough and approve for the next phase. We want, towards the beginning, we want just some verbiage within, I guess, in the beginning
Site
phase.
preparation.
So, yeah, probably a site preparation that talks about the filter sock at the culvert at Route 12. And then in each bullet too, we wanted installation of no
Silk
disturbance sign.
tops inside.
And
But-
I've got those signs downstairs. They're about that big. So
You could just change the word inspect and approve instead of consult. Just change that one word.
and then
Inspect,
just
approve.
and then a section 6 that talks about just remediation and then wetland seed mix. And to ensure signs are in place.
Now, as far as the reseeding, will that take place at the end of the project, or is it going to be happening at each phase?
It might be prudent to do it at the end of each phase, Dave, because things will be already raw from pulling things out, and you'll be at, you'll kind of be in a state where the natural system is a little bit shocked. So putting in a seed mix, it'll grow with what grows back. So does that
Section will look really
that
pretty by the time you
make
get it.
sense?
It does.
So perhaps
Okay.
on phase 2, that's through November of 25, so the seed mix isn't going to take in November.
Yeah, and you'd want to be doing these in the spring. So, but then again, November wouldn't be a good month. October would be prime.
October would be the best.
That way, if the seed mix doesn't take, it'll be there in the spring and it will take off.
So is the plan then that you're going to sort of rewrite this up, or are they going to rewrite it up and then we agree to it, or are we going to agree in principle and move forward?
It would be ideal to agree in principle.
Principle.
We'll get a new one. That way they can move forward.
Right.
So,
So we'll vote to approve with these additions.
Modifications.
what I would do is I would approve the plan with these additional changes.
So I'll move that we approve the multi-point plan for cleanup for 114 Worcester Road with modifications
As discussed,
as discussed.
Okay.
first by Commissioner Shivers,
A second.
second by Commissioner Anderson. Roll call, Commissioner Shivers,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharon,
Yes.
Commissioner Foley,
Yes.
Commissioner Parents, yes. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
We really
So-
appreciate the work that you're doing.
Yes, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Vito, and Dave, if you need any clarification, let me know.
I
All right.
will.
Okay,
I'll send you an email.
all right.
Thank you,
Sounds
sir.
good. Great to see you, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, now we're going to go back up to prioritizing 2025 goals and Conservation Commission. Joey's put a little work into this. There is a handout that you children may review if you haven't already. Essentially, what's being spelled out here is the educational component that we've all kind of agreed on, that is our top priority. And so we're going to sort of focus on that this year as being a way to start implementing goals for our commission that are outside of our normal boundaries of, doing things like we just finished doing, with the intent of sort of fulfilling our environmental, I think the reason why most of us are here because we have a very strong environmental wish and preservation, and so this will work towards that. So, Joey, you want to go through this since you are the author on this?
Sure. So obviously we, as we talk through what our initiatives are that we wanted to prioritize for 2025, we all landed on community education as something that the board really wants to home in on. So what I did was kind of like what we were talking, when we were talking through things the last time, I said, it needs to be sort of partitioned out so that we have a clear, a clear set of initiatives. So what I did was I took the goal of community education and I broke it down into 3 priorities. The first priority being public presence and engagement. And I came up with some ideas and some things here that I think would be good for us to begin the process of being present and engaging with our public, with our residents. So the first thing is participate in Earth Day cleanup. This year, I did touch base with Carol Marchand, who runs Earth Day cleanup for our town. On April 22nd of this year, there will be a townwide Earth Day cleanup. A few years ago, I participated in this, and what we did was, as a commission, we all, those of us that were available, we paired up in twos, and you get the trash bags from here at Town Hall, and we chose a wetland area, and we helped to clean up the wetland areas. And then I had the little brochures that we have about living with wetlands, and if we saw folks, we introduced ourselves, we sort of made ourselves known in the community, we gave out pamphlets. It was a fun day. It's just a few hours, and I have to tell you, the amount of stuff that we pulled out of wetlands was kind of sad, really. But it's a chance to do something good for the community, but also to engage with residents and other folks in the community. Something else that I think would be important is to recognize American Wetlands Month in May. And we can put information on the town website. We can ask for things to be pushed to our Facebook, the town Facebook, on items. We can do activities such as additional cleanups, educational workshops. I know that we had talked about, perhaps I can talk to some folks that I know, different branches of our state government that do educational components on wetlands and the importance of wetlands. And another thing too is outreach, speaking opportunities. I did do one at Kildare Island Club a couple of years ago. So there's, the opportunity to reach out to some of our partner organizations like the Kildare Island Club, the WLA. Can even do, I'll even do like an office hour where it's meet the agent. If you've got a project coming up, come talk to me about your project. I can set folks up for success when it comes to permitting, etc. On that. So the plan would be to do 2 of those a year to start. I felt that was a fair number. If we get to 1, then that's fine. Some commissions, I know a few do what they call conservation coffee once a month, and what they do is they talk to the local radio station, or they do a talk at the library. And it's either in the morning or it's in the afternoon, and you bring your beverage, and the agent talks about a certain topic. So that's something that is an option for us. And then, of course, a guest speaker coming in, talking to us for half an hour. And of course, all of our meetings are recorded. So folks, we would get an education segment out of it, but also the education segment would trickle down to the general public. So something on Chapter 91, or, we can have Glenn talk about trout and the importance of trout and turtles and how to identify turtles, or, these are things that I'm thinking of when it comes to a guest speaker. And then I set up a goal of 2 of those for the year, 1 in the spring, maybe 1 in the fall. So that is priority 1. The second one is our Community Environmental Service Award. I've been working with Rich on this. Part of my staff report was I was going to let you folks know that we're getting closer to kind of formulating that and making that something that I can present to you guys and show you some mock-ups of what those will look like. My thought on a time frame was we get this program up and running this month, and And then each February, what we would do is we would do a request for candidates out to the community. It can be advertised on our website. So we would collect candidates throughout the month of February, perhaps then the board, we somehow, we discuss the candidates. In March and perhaps April, we make a decision. And then I thought that it'd be fitting to give that award in the spring and May during American Wetlands Month. So that would give us some time to cull through applicants and nominees rather, candidates, and then be able to, talk about each of the candidates and then make a decision on them. Then priority 3 was to increase the effectiveness of our website. As you folks know, I've been working on the website. I've been adding new documents and trying to make the website as user-friendly as possible. So to continue to enhance the website, I would be doing that and sort of in the background. All of our application packets are now on the website, with the exception of a Chapter 91 packet that I'm working on, and then create a fluid landing page that has all sorts of wetland information, tips, best management practices, educational documents, sort of a clearinghouse for, things that are important nature-wise within our community. So I thought that this was a good start to education priorities, and if we hit a home run on a few of them this year, I mean, it's a success. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, what I really kind of like, Joy, is that this isn't just a one-time thing. This is sort of a building, so it's like an onion effect, where I think this is the very beginning of, and so I see things like the website. I see things like the Environmental Service Award as something that we will begin and will continue to propagate. So it's just, it's not like a one and done thing. And I'm particularly looking forward to seeing pictures of people doing work on Earth Day and being contributing, so the community can see that our engagement and the speakers. I think the potential is really great for some really good speakers. We all become educated on subjects, and we should probably pass off any ideas that we have. So
yeah, if anyone wants to hear, a talk on anything specific, send me an email and let me know.
Find the specialist.
That goes to anyone,
Yeah.
anyone from the public that would like to hear something, just send me an email and I can see if I can find someone to arrange a talk on it.
Like, what is a rain garden and its purpose, where the rain garden was just put in? People might say, oh, that's cool, but not really have an understanding of its purpose and what
Its function.
for.
Yep.
Its
Nature
function.
in process here. Yeah.
So that would be perhaps a nice place to start.
I agree. That's a great idea.
Okay.
And we could invite like Boys and Girl Scout clubs to come so they understand.
Yeah.
She's making fun of me because I got a compliment from Mr. Parent. She's just jealous.
Wow. Okay.
We all are. So for me, Joey, I want to be as involved as possible. So the sooner like dates are picked, the sooner I can sort of plug those dates in.
Sure.
So, Earth Day, I'm going to definitely plug that in. I'll be happy to do other things. It's kind of tricky. And I'm just speaking for myself, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Like calendars fill up really quick and I want to be as involved as I can. So I still am learning everything. So whatever you all decide, I need that information. That's someone who's,
Put 4/22/25 on your calendar.
I'm going to literally go home. Maybe my calendars are coming tomorrow, but so Wednesday or Thursday, I will be putting everything I can into the my calendar on my
Yeah.
phone to make sure that Alexa reminds me I have to do something.
We're all working professionals, and I understand that. And, I'm fortunate now that this is my profession, and I used to sit where all of you sit. So I know that time is it can be tight. And you all already give so much, and to give a little extra, it's sometimes hard. And I can tell, that you're all dedicated and you're all passionate in what you do, and I appreciate that. And I know that the community appreciates that as well. So, I would don't expect everyone to be able to, attend everything. But, that little extra commitment really goes a long way for the community.
I'm going to get gear for Earth Day. Wait, that's not the simulation.
It's a natural product.
But I like the idea of managing stormwater, rain gardens, any kind of
recent
managing,
project,
managing
Explaining its
storm,
purpose and its function.
yeah, absolutely. There's several ways of managing stormwater on your property. So
Well, and it's a small population compared to the numbers of people in town, right, of understanding what it is, right? So the people involved in the rain garden going in
mhm.
know all about it, but everybody else is like, what's that? What? When do I put this in, right? So,
Yeah. And they're fairly simple to put in. It's just there's specific ways of putting them in. You have to have specific soils, certain vegetation that will help, really suck up the water during high volume days of water. But it's definitely it's an interest amongst a lot of people that I find that they're, it's low impact development too. So it's part of what they call LID. So, and it's nature and process. It's the soils filtering out any kind of potential contaminants and, getting the groundwater to recharge.
Excellent. Any more discussion points here?
This is great. Good job.
Thank you.
Wow, compliments coming back. Okay,
It's achievable. I think it's.
agreed. Yeah.
We didn't set the bar so high that.
Right.
So I think it's a great job.
It leaves an option to lower the bar too. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the draft meeting minutes. Did everybody for December 16th, everybody have a chance to read those?
Yes.
Anybody find any issues here?
I tried, but I couldn't.
Yeah, good, I agree. Any more discussion? Motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the draft minutes for December 16th, 2024.
First by Commissioner Sharon,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Foley. Roll call, Commissioner Shivers?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharon?
Yes.
Commissioner Foley?
Yes.
Commissioner Parenti, yes. Excellent. Joey, staff report.
All right, so I've been busy doing nothing. So I've been working on finalizing our award program. So I'm hoping at our next meeting, we'll be able to have a discussion. I'll be able to present some things to everybody. So we're getting closer to that. I've figured out the paper that we want the documents printed on, the jacket sleeves that they're going to go into. I want to call around about plaques, the plaque that will go on the wall outside the commission office downstairs. So there's some little fine tuning things that I need to sort of get situated, but I've been working on that. I've also, we've discussed it before, and I've mentioned it before. It's been something that even since I was chairman of the board, I always thought that we needed, but you know how the building department has a building permit that goes on the front of your house in a window, or if you're, can be on lakeside if you want it on the lakeside. But I'm creating a template of a conservation, pretty much almost like a building card. It's a permit card. So if you've been through the NOI process, the RDA process, or even if I've I've cleared the way for an admin approval on something, you will get a permit card. It'll be printed on very visible paper. It's going to have a large C on it. So if anyone that's on the commission goes by and you wonder what's going on there, has it been approved? I don't remember talking about that project. Because sometimes people are late starting projects. Sometimes, trees are approved to come down or something, minor like a fence or whatnot.
Or neighbors.
Or neighbors. Folks will see, you'll be able to drive by and see there's a permit card. So I figured that would be a great way to start the process of being a little more visible too. To help all of you know that, all right, yeah, we did do that. Or someone from conservation has touched what's going on here. That's in the works.
I would just add one more thing, Jody. There was another component there when the project is completed.
Yeah, so when the project's completed, they have to turn in the card back to me, just like they have to do with the building permits. And if it's an NOI, it's a great opportunity for me to be like, okay, now you can begin the process of your certificate of compliance. So it'll help hook folks on certificate of compliances. And that's a really good thing because number one, we're closing out our projects. And number two, we're making sure that they're compliant. But also number three, it's clearing people's deeds of the cloud that ends up going on the deed with an NOI. So there's definitely a benefit of doing this. Like I mentioned to Rich, we'll try it out. If it doesn't work, then it's not something that's required under the regs. It's not something that's required, but it's something I think that is just sort of going an extra mile to make sure that we're all in the know on the projects that start late or projects that are running late, or projects that are have been through the administrative process, the minor projects. So, obviously you've seen the education goals. So I spent some time working on that, getting this situated and put together so that we can hit the ground running now on that. And then the other thing was I just wanted to mention just the Earth Day in April, but I already discussed it from the education standpoint. So, but that's all I've got right now for a staff report. It was the holidays were very quiet, so allowed me to kind of get ahead of the curve on some other stuff, some busy stuff.
Excellent. So next meeting is going to be January the 21st, and we're going to be back here in the Selectmen's room.
Could you ask them to put some heat on?
This is better than last time.
This is actually better than last time, yeah.
I can put one here.
I have a question. If that guy on Upper Hill Road, they already got 1 year extension, now they got 2 year. What happens if he doesn't get it? Can we, because that 1 year was.
He'll have
the
to
other
come
people.
back. I will tell you, right now, there is a tolling provision out there right now on all zoning permits. So
I mean, there's a lot of work he's gonna do. I don't think he's gonna.
there is a lot. I think 2 years is sufficient, but with the tolling provision, from what I understand, there's an additional year now, as of right now. The governor signed a provision called the Economic Relief Act. And in that provision, a lot of folks didn't realize that there is another tolling provision on extending permits. So that's why I said 2 years I think is good. And if the tolling act adds a year, it's really 3. So
So when did that take place?
it started a month ago. It's on commission, anything zoning, anything building. It's supposed to provide economic relief so that folks are not sort of boxed into getting things done. And if prices are a certain amount at a particular time and you have to get it done at a particular time, It was a way to provide economic relief to folks and adding what they call tolling to permits.
so in other words,
we went through permit tolling during COVID. So
So when we approve a project for 3 years now, it's now actually 4 years?
right now, yeah, it could be longer. Depends on how long they decide that the tolling is going to last.
And how about projects that have already exhausted?
It actually reactivated all of the projects that are have been expired.
Interesting.
I'm still learning about the provisions of this. This was kind of a shock to conservations and communities. This just rolled out just a couple weeks ago.
So just blanket added a year to every,
Well, it's a year. It could end up being 2 years. Like for example, the COVID extension tolling added 462 days to the expiration of any permit. So if you had a permit that was before, I think it was April 20th, no, March 20th of 2020. If you had a permit before that and it expired during COVID, you got an extra 462 days added because that was how long the COVID emergency lasted for. And that's when the governor said, all right, it's now done.
Joey, there's a question I've always wanted to ask you. Do you know the number of NOIs, RDAs that are outstanding, lacking COCs?
We have never had an actual
Means?
way of tracking that. I'm actually working on that right now. Right now, since I've taken the position since April, I've started a spreadsheet. So right now I have an Excel spreadsheet. So that's what I've been working with. But, you know, you get busy, you forget to add it. So I would probably say 95% accurate for right now since April when I took the job.
Mhm.
Eventually, the permitting process for conservation is going to go into what we call Viewpoint, which is what the town uses as an electronic permitting system. That's my goal within the next 2 years is to get us onto Viewpoint. That will then I'll be able to run reports on what could be open, what could be closed. Viewpoint can let me know, hey, these 5 are expiring in 7 days. These are expired. Like I can set it up. It's actually a really powerful tool. The building department right now uses it, and the health department use it. So, and we're not even using it to its full capability yet. There's a lot of great capability of it. Actually, it's Viewpoint, but they actually just changed it to OpenGov. That's what it's called.
Yeah. The reason for asking that question, because I assume that there was a lot of open NOIs and RDAs. And so I've always been curious as to why. What is the driving force between people not getting COCs?
Well, COCs are only on NOIs.
I'm sorry. Right.
So RDAs, as soon as the RDA is done, it's dead.
But what stops people from not getting an NOI COC?
They don't know that they have to get a COC until they actually
That
change.
might be. Or is it something else? Is it dock permitting, for example? Is it engineering plans? Is it, anything that stipulate? Are we putting stipulations that are inhibiting? The reason for initiating this discussion is because we are oftentimes getting these emergency. We're selling the house. This project has been done for years.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's common. It's common across all commissions for the most part.
Sure.
People finish a project, they either move in and then they just forget about the process and it doesn't come up until you need a mortgage or it doesn't come up until you're looking to transfer the title. You're looking to put it into a trust. Whenever, some sort of big event happens with a property, that, as I call it, the cloud on the deed, which is the NOI, that order of conditions will come back, and as we've seen, it's come back to bite some people. And then it's a mad dash to get it done, and we've got, it puts pressure on the board to be like, okay, well, is it compliant? Where's the compliance statement? I will tell you that one stipulation that we put on people is that they need to get the, for the certificate of compliance, is the engineered plan. Engineered plans, from what I've always understood from other conservation agents, really are on new builds and rebuilds. You don't want to ask someone to spend $2,000 to $5,000 on a engineered plan or a certificate of compliance plan for putting a small retaining wall across their yard, or regrading of lawn that's adjacent to the lake, or something like that. That's just, it's not fair to put on anybody, especially in today's society where a lot of folks are, that money is not discretionary right now. So that's why, if you see an NOI on a new build or on a new home or a rebuild, that's when you see that particular condition. I think the dock piece is something else that, we're doing well with. We've had more, I checked the numbers, we did more dock permits this year than we did last year. We're still not doing it, as much as what the state would like. But I can tell you that when an NOI comes through, one of the state's comments is this may qualify for a Chapter 91. Be sure that they go through the Chapter 91 process. So we've actually been ahead of the curve by adding that condition in on NOIs. So, and we started doing that probably about 4 years ago. And that was after we had gone through some training, and I had some discussions with people at Chapter 91 to just add that into the order of conditions. They just have to get a Chapter 91. I've been helping some folks with the Chapter 91 process. It's helping me learn the process, and it's helping folks get the process done.
Great. Any other questions here? Thank you for answering my questions and educating.
No problem.
Looking for, at 7:21, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:21.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
We adjourn, 7:21.